I love my simplistic design and white void background. I sure would hate it if, out of nowhere, completely uncalled for, and done out of impulse after discovering Pinterest, that my entire world was ruined by unneeded elements. Oh no, shit.
No, fuck, shit.
Do you?
Fucking pig sucker. Fuck. Your mother's a fucking cow, bitch.
Okay, time for you to go. Hey shit watchers, it's Dancing, that YouTuber who found success through a game that isn't even complete yet. Sorry about all that, I'll deal with them after the shoot. I won't keep you all for too long, I know you're here to see the curse ships. Just want to let you know that there are a lot of changes coming to the channel, not just a change in the Sona design. I'll go into more detail at a later date. I originally planned this video to be just rambling about my favorite curse pairings with visuals to accompany what I was saying, but instead, I'm just gonna make this big old speed paint while rambling on about the pairing in the background. With some pairings I have more to say, with others not so much. If that's the case, I'll just let the music play and let you enjoy watching me struggle to draw a circle. Timestamps will be at the bottom if you want to skip to a certain ship. So, take a seat, get comfy, and enjoy the ramblings of someone with way too much free time. Alright, so we're gonna start off simple, ease into the curseness of it all. That's Maru and Kuromi. Well, it's canon. In the miniseries, at least. I'm gonna be completely honest here, a lot of people don't really like it, because, Kuromi and Melody, they got that opposite attract thing going on. But as someone who has always thought, Kuromi and Maru always look good together, I can say I have been eating good ever since. Yeah, it's nice. It's good. It's good to crack chips. It's good. It's good. Well, I guess my reasoning would be they both like playing pranks. They like doing mischievous things, anyways. And they're just soon to raise. They're soon to raise, like all around soon to raise. Kuromi, obviously, that's a little less tsundere, but no, still there. And their aesthetics match. It's good. It's nice. It's nice when aesthetics clash. Match. I like to personally think that they both have crushes on each other. Kuromi was the first, because in literally the first episode, Kuromi's shown to have a crush on him. And over time, Badtz also develops that crush. And they're just both good friends, and at the beginning they just didn't want to reveal their crushes for each other because they feel like it was going to cause an awkwardness in the air when they hang out. So they both kind of just kept it down. But when they eventually get together, because I am praying that they do, and I personally like to think that they do in the end, they are still kind of the bestest of friends, now with more hand-holding. I'd like to believe that they would still go around playing pranks with each other, and just bicker about just random things, and then laugh it off. And, their concerns before about it, bothering their friendship or causing a clash in it, it wouldn't really come up, because they would still be true to themselves while being with them. And, they balance off each other. They are like a seesaw effect. One side keeps their end up, and the other one keeps their other end up. And yeah, that's basically why I like it. Sorry, Kuromi and Melody shippers. I also just want to say that the way I just drew Badtz expression when he was looking at Kuromi, For some reason, I just couldn't stop thinking of, like in his head, he's thinking, I am going to rail her. I don't know why. It's just something I thought of, like, when I was drawing. Just this expression, just how, like, not deadpan it is, it's just, like, staring at her. Only just winking, and, like, it just clicked for some reason. Lord help me. But I really liked how the drawing came out in the end. It's, not the best or worst thing I ever drew. Since it was, like, the first, like, image I drew for this video, I wasn't really putting any expectations on myself. But, yeah, I did just like it. Simple, just cutesy, holding each other, and just, yeah. I think that's all, like, the relationship needs to be. It's nice. Okay, a quick editor's note. It has now come to my attention that Chelsea is a grown-ass woman. Yeah, I think that just makes the Happy Sugar Life comparison even worse. Oh, sweet Jesus. For, continuity's sake, let's just, say this is in a different universe where, Ruby and Chelsea are the same age. Good? Good. Alright, continue on with the video. Alright, this one's a kind of weird one. So, originally in the script of this, I did not plan to add them, mainly because I did not know the movie existed at the time I was writing this. But after seeing the trailers, yeah, I couldn't help myself. Its opposites attract and enemies to lovers. My favorite two dynamics. I love it. But I honestly don't want them to be happy. Like, I want them to be happy, obviously, because I should be happy to exist. But I want the happiness to come at a price, and that price is angst. So I like to think their relationship, at least to me, is like a Happy Sugar Life situation. Just without the pedophilia. With a little inspired by the fiancé video by Videos. Video with the mermaid and Sea Witch, I think. I don't know what that was. Personally, I like to think that there's an unspoken term when it comes to the rivalry between Krakens and mermaids. Well, it's mainly unspoken because, well, nobody knows that Krakens are actually trying to protect the ocean and that mermaids are actually evil. But I like to think that mermaids are actually extremely territorial of things, because they're mermaids. Kind of like an Earth situation, they like collecting things and claiming it as theirs. And that includes the Kraken that is trying to destroy them. And they become angry when the Kraken becomes mermaids, or just straight up leaves them. And it's like a instinct that they just develop over time, like whenever they're near a Kraken. And, well, as the time that, I personally like to think the story takes place, which I'm gonna say it's a story, but really, I don't think I'm ever gonna write a story about, obsessing over Ruby, but, well, maybe. Chelsea, like during the time of the story, develops this territorial instinct for Ruby, but doesn't really understand it. But, thinks it's, like, it's love, when it's not. It's just wanting to possess something. And Ruby, of course, isn't aware of the unspoken term, and just thinks that Chelsea likes her, and she likes Chelsea. But since Chelsea's a mermaid and Ruby's a Kraken, they can't exactly tell anybody. Well, at school, like, everybody knows because Chelsea's a mermaid and likes Chelsea. But yeah, they don't exactly know that Ruby's a Kraken. So, speaking on top of that, like during whenever they're together, Chelsea just refuses to let Ruby speak to anyone when they're just together. And even if she does, I like to think that she's extremely picky on whoever Ruby gets to talk to. Which isn't really a lot of people from what I've seen from the trailer. It seems like she only has one friend. Alongside being really controlling over Ruby's social life, she is really protective over her. And just has this, like, fear that something bad could happen to Ruby and she's not going to be there to protect her. And that includes whenever Ruby gets hurt, like, just a little bit. She scrapes her knee, Chelsea has a full-on panic attack. But, Ruby just thinks it's kind of cute. But, over time it gets more suffocating, and she doesn't exactly know how to tell Chelsea to just back off, because she's too nice for her own good. And this is... I like to think this is her, like, first serious relationship. Quite furious. And she doesn't exactly know what to do. She can't really talk to her parents about it because, again, Chelsea's a mermaid. So we're kind of just, like, stuck in this sort of limbo. Chelsea's just fine, but Ruby is kind of, like, not really exactly happy in the situation. Just can't really express it. Explain them the relationship. Kind of don't ask them to resolve the strain. It's fun. It's fun to torture characters. Don't take that out of context. But I suppose if we're talking lighter, not angst, Chelsea, started to back away from the limelight just so Ruby wouldn't get, like, overstimulated with all the attention, like, drawn to her. Mermaid. Most of their dates, like, entailed on, like, going into the ocean and just swimming around each other, laughing, playing with the starfish, swimming around coral reefs, and then just staring at the moonlight. Something cute I thought of. I should draw that. I should have drawn that, but I decided not to. I'll draw it later. Oh. Back to the Happy Sugar Life comparison. Okay, we're not getting too ranty because I really don't like how the anime portrayed the manga. I wouldn't really compare their relationship to Satoko and Shio's, mainly because with Satoko and Shio it's, like, really one-sided, because Shio's a child and she doesn't understand romantic feelings. Their relationship is similar. It's like their circumstance. It's similar because they're not exactly allowed to be together, but they still are. And Chelsea, like, is, like, trying her hardest to, like, keep Ruby safe, and Ruby's just, like, in the middle of this, and she's not really allowed to speak her mind. She could, but she just doesn't know how to. So that's where the comparison kind of, like, stops. Because their dynamic is... I don't want it to be similar to Satoko and Shio's, like, at all. It makes me uncomfortable. But, there are the comparisons that I can make between the two. I like the scenario, but, like, if the movie ever, slightly hints at mermaids being a little protective about their kraken, I would, it would be kind of cool to, like a scene where Ruby meets her grandmother, and, like, her grandmother, like, tells her about the unspoken term, and, like, tells a story about her own experience with her own mermaid, and how that led to her having to kill the mermaid, and her feeling guilt ever since. It'd be like a, a little something to talk about how, like, abusive relationships and whatnot. Because this is abusive. I'm not even gonna dance around it, like saying, oh no, it's fine, it's cute, they're girls, it means girls can't abuse girls. No, I'm not gonna do that. But, like, their relationship is unhealthy. Extremely. So, it'd be like a nice little message that, toxic relationships happen to anybody, and moving on from them is difficult. I'm not sure if the movie ever will. They probably won't. I'm just speaking out, like, hypothetically, if, magically the movie can change into, like, a lesbian story. But, it's just something I thought about. I have to say, I really liked how the art came out in the end. Both versions of it. I mean, there was a little bit of a problem, like, in between when I was trying to find a broken glass image for the background, like, to represent, like, shattered heart or something. But otherwise, I really liked how it came out. Really nice, really cutesy. I was kind of worried about how I would draw a Ruby, because I'm not good at drawing squids, or anything squid related. But, not bad. I got into myself. Not too bad. Did you really think I wasn't going to add the kings of crack shipping? Like, just, you knew what you were getting into by clicking this video. To think that I would not have Sansmaeda on the list of my favorite crack ships is hilarious, and it's cute. Honestly, like, do I even need to explain why I like it so much? It's so absurd. Like, literally, they are the pioneers of crack shipping. I might be wrong, but I don't care if I'm wrong or not. But, like, if it wasn't for that video, I would believe crack shipping wouldn't be as cursed as it is now. Maybe. Most likely. I mean, there's still more Twi or Twi more. I don't know. I haven't really been keeping up with that. Aside from just the absurdity of it all, they also just look nice together. Like, am I the only one that thinks that? I mean, their colors complement each other. I mean, sand, skeleton, Nagito, human. It's that different species thing. And, if we're going by the ending of Undertale, where the monsters, go up on the surface, and they're somehow connected to the Danganronpa universe. I mean, it's possible. So, there's that. And Sand and Nagito have been together for so long. Since 2016, I think. They might as well get married. Obviously, they are married. I just like the idea that they're married. They've been together for so long. They've been through a lot. Man, I think involving Tumblr. But, like, it just makes sense for them to get married. And have kids. Biological kids. I mean, don't ask. It just happened. Okay, I blacked out, and then I woke up, and I had a story written where Nagito apparently has kids. Gave birth to kids in their hands, I guess. I don't know. They have one boy and one girl. I named the girl Furabe and the boy Marte. They're just names I randomly picked. Well, Furabe is named after a character from Persona, and because I like the idea that Chigaki actually named her because she's the godmother. Game addict. And Papyrus chose Marte because Italian and spaghetti. I don't know. I'm bad at names. So, besides their family and them being married, they, are just cruising through life. Just enjoying every day as it comes. I like to think that Sans' depression, that obviously has depression, kind of just like, sort of, not evaporated, because depression doesn't just leave it out of nowhere. But it's just... it's still there, but it isn't as prominent. But, some days it just
it gets really bad, and you know, when he gets like that, Nagito will just like sit next to him and just not say anything, just be there for him. Like, sometimes that's all someone needs, you know? And, you know, he knows that's what makes Sans feel better. And while Sans is a lot more open about, you know, most of his issues, there's still something that he doesn't bring up because it's something that he just deals with by himself, and it just kind of like destroys him from the inside. And that is the fear that everything, his family, is just gonna be reset one day and he's back in the underground. That is the thing that keeps him up at night, and he just keeps it inside because he just feels like it's not worth talking about because it's probably just a random fear. Probably, most likely, maybe. Now switching over to Nagito, we focus too much on Sans. So Nagito just basically has PTSD from the killing game, which he survived with Hajime and Chigaki, I think. Before he got married to Sans, he would get like triggered by just things that would just remind him of the killing game, like maybe a knife or maybe something that's not even related, like blood randomly, and like, you know, he just like get visions of like Monokuma, and it really messed with his head. And then when he got with Sans, he got the help that he needed with the therapist and whatnot, but it isn't as bad as it was before, but it can still leave him stressed, and it causes him to start pulling his hair out, which, at least from my understanding, when someone's pregnant, they also start losing their hair, so that kind of causes him to have like some self-esteem issues. But Sans just, you know, doesn't care about that because he fell in love with Nagito for him, not his looks or anything like that. It's really cheesy, but sometimes you just need cheese in your life. Honestly, like, Nagito was totally very supportive when Sans, like, got to this, like, finale of the Tumblr Sexy Man battle thing that was on Twitter. He was just so supportive. I mean, yeah, he was in the running, you know, also trying to get the crown, but, like, you know, I like to think that he didn't, like, have a lot of hope that he would, but, you know, he had full faith in his husband. And, you know, he was just cheering him on, and Sans just did not want to be part of it, but, like, I mean, it'll give him something to do on the weekend. And it's just funny. I just think it's good. I just think it's cute. And after they came home from the Sexy Man party, 9 months later, Futabe and Marte came out. You can connect the dots there. I went in a different direction with the image this time. You know, instead of just like having Sans and Nagito hold their kids or something like that, it's just mainly them just with their babies. You know, it doesn't really need to be lovey-dovey as long as, you know, they love. And they love their kids, and in turn, they love each other. Like, I just wanted to draw something cute, loving family. It's just, don't judge me.
Okay, if there's any ship on this list that's going to be controversial, maybe it's gonna be this one. And look, I get it. Sasha and Mila, they have more in common. Not common, it's more the opposites attract thing. But Sasha and Mori, they have that opposites attract thing. In fact, I personally like the idea that you know, Sasha, Milla, and Mori are in a polyamorous relationship, because that's cute and I like it. But it's not cursed enough, so yeah. Look, I just like it. It clicks for me. I don't gotta explain it myself. I have a personal headcanon with this ship that they're not actually dating, but they still meet up after work and do couples things. You know what I mean. They're not together, but they both like each other. However, they just can't exactly say it. For Sasha, it's because Dungeons and his brain are telling him not to. And for Mori, well, if this were to be, you know, somewhat plausible and the game storyline, it would mainly because, you know, he's working with Lobato and he can't exactly, you know, grow attached to Sasha or the other Psychonauts. And, you know, after all that's been resolved, he's just kind of waiting for Sasha to make the move because, well, again, if this were to be somewhat plausible, Mori would, like, sort of be this, like, evil villain and, like, be like, oh, haha, you thought I, like, loved you or something. And then Sasha would just be, like, heartbroken, but, you know, not so much. He wouldn't express it outwardly, if that's Sasha, but it would obviously hurt him. And the relationship's kind of, like, a little bit on the rocks after, you know, the first game, but over time, it's, like, slowly gets better. Still no romance, though. Yeah, they still do the couples thing. It's just they are projecting their feelings for each other and just keeping it purely casual. And just some urinin. You can't go wrong with urinin. I like to imagine that Milla is, like, that middle ground between both of them, and, like, is trying to, like, get them both to just admit that they like each other, so the yearning could stop. Like, she's their biggest supporter, and just wants to see them both happy. Honestly, out of every single pairing in this video, they have to be my favorite pairing, and I don't even know why I like it so much. It just, I like it. I don't know. I really don't know why. They look nice together. Yeah, but the drawing doesn't really do that favor. I do not know how to draw Mori. I really don't. But it's better how I used to draw him. Besides the way I drew Mori, I really like how the drawing came out in the end. It's not too bad. I mean, it's not too complicated either, but, you know, it's not too bad. I mean, this is the first drawing I discovered I could use the filter thingy with, like, the blurring, which made a lot of things easier moving forward. Would have been really useful to discover that earlier. And I should probably start watching tutorials.
Okay, now we're really in the cursed territory. I know, just a few images in. Alright, I don't really got a reason for this. I was just drawing something and I had the two photos together, and I just thought they looked nice together, and And it just happened. But isn't that how most cursed ships just exist? Two people, you put them together, you think they look nice together, and yeah, it exists now. But I have a reason why Peter is in the cookie world anyways. Alright, just bear with me for a second, because I know some of you are going to be really mad. Actually, a lot of you are going to be really mad about this. Alright, so Peter ended up in the cookie world after YN, the abusive version that nobody likes talking about for some reason, broke his heart, and he just ended up here. And he met Eclair, and yeah, it was just destiny. Destiny is weird. The best way I can describe the relationship is like very possessive, because Peter just got out of an abusive relationship, and he just clings on to Eclair anyways. Well, he does that anyway with YN, but you know, Eclair is a lot more, you know, not much of a dick. And Eclair, he, you know, based off my headcanons for him, which I have not explained because I haven't made a cookie run video in like ages, he, you know, needs love because he was like neglected his entire life by his parents and didn't really get that love. So, you know, now that this guy is here and giving him just this attention, it makes him feel special. Well, besides also being neglected, he also just has a natural fear of getting close with somebody because he's afraid that, you know, they'll naturally start to not like him. And so during the start of the relationship, he started like getting really distant from Peter, and, you know, Peter, you know, being the possessive asshole he is, he just got closer to him, not knowing that Eclair was uncomfortable with that. So it was like the relationship was like really unhealthy when it first started out. But over time, Peter learned to, you know, do his own thing, not really rely on Eclair for everything for the sake of both of their mental healths. And Eclair would also learn to be a lot more open towards Peter and, you know, tell him all about, you know, the things that happen in his life, so he has like an emotional support outlet, so he doesn't have to ball it all up. But, you know, they still have a long way to go. It's a slow but steady race. We'll see how it works out in the end. Alright, here are some prompts I came up with, thinking about all the misadventures that Peter and Eclair can get into. On the days when Eclair's anxiety gets extremely bad and he can't leave the bed, Peter just won't leave his side, like the entire day. Even if he has something to do that day, he just stays by his side. Even when Eclair breaks down and tells him to just leave him to rot, they stay together, and, you know, something that's sweet. Okay, on the not-so-sweet side, Peter gets flinchy when Eclair even slightly raises his voice or expresses any form of anger. Trauma! I love giving the boy trauma. But, you know, they talk it out. Speaking of which, Peter never told Eclair about his past relationship with YN, because he doesn't really want to think about YN, and he just thinks that he could just let it go and it's okay. It's not. It's really not. So that's a bit of a strained relationship that they gotta get through. Oh, by the way, since I know people like Peter for this reason alone, and don't lie to me, I know you freaks do, he doesn't abide Eclair. Reason? He's a cookie. Well, he did it once, but it ended badly. I wrote a story about it. I'll link it somewhere. to be honest, I used to be really into this ship, but over time I kind of just fell out of it. I mean, I still like it, or otherwise I wouldn't have put it in this list. It's just, I used to really like it, but now I kind of fell out of it. I do not know why, but it probably doesn't matter. As for the image, nothing important to say. It's okay, I guess. Not a big fan of Peter, to be honest. I like his sister more. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be taking her to a nice restaurant where they serve breadsticks under an ace flag. Thank you very much. Alright, quick explanation for how this happened. I just didn't have any characters to ship Biggie Cheesecake with. I mean, there was Mix Smooth, but they didn't interact, and I just felt no chemistry when I saw them together. But when I put him and Pico's picture together, I was thinking, yes. I mean, it's literally a gun feed with PTSD and a DJ obsessed with cheesecake bites. What is there not to love? Ah! I like to imagine before they dated, Pico had a crush on Biggie, but was just unable to get the words out. Like, I imagine that he, around certain people, gets really flustered, and when it became obvious that he had a crush on him, boyfriend and girlfriend had to help him muster up the courage to just say hi. And somehow they were able to get him to ask Biggie out, and now they're dating. But Pico still does get flustered. I believe Biggie was kind of like unaware of it, because he's like, I like to imagine that he's oblivious to most things around him. But, slowly over time he kind of, grows that connection to Pico. And now they're dating. Alright, moving on to relationship stuff. Biggie helps Pico stay more calm during confrontations, and Pico helps Biggie defend himself when conversations go violent. Because Pico's good at defending himself, but he isn't good when it comes to, calming down. And Biggie isn't good when it comes to, standing up for himself, but he's good when it comes to staying calm. So, they help each other with that. And on the topic, Pico gave Biggie a gun for their first anniversary, and Biggie keeps it. Just to keep himself safe. Helps him get that stronger vibe going. Even though he is intimidating by first look. Which I also really like about the relationship. Pico just seems small and Biggie's big, and they look like Biggie would be the intimidating one, Pico would be like the, oh, help me, but it's actually the other way around. Well, Biggie isn't the help me type, but they're still, they're both intimidating, as I say that. Now on to the angst. Due to Pico's PTSD from the school shooting, Pico often has mental relapses and returns to his old ways, being violent, shouting, throwing insults left and right. And, usually those last about a week, and Biggie just naturally learned to stay away and give him some space when he gets like that. But, when it clears up, Pico feels like he's hurting Biggie when it does that. But he doesn't want to ask because he feels like it's all in his head and he's just being paranoid. But Biggie does, in fact, hurt when this happens because he feels like he's not doing enough. Because, he has anxiety when he feels like he's not expressing enough emotion around Pico, because he feels like in a relationship you're supposed to be natural and feel like you're connected with them, but he feels like he's being too nonchalant with him because he's with everybody, and he doesn't want to feel that way with Pico. And it just, there's a bit of a strain there, but they can both overcome it when they slowly start to talk about stuff. Speaking of that, Pico had not told Biggie about his past with school, but Biggie already knows because obviously he would know. And, what his thoughts on it is that he's happy that Pico is, moving past that and is trying to actually get better. And, he doesn't tell Pico that he knows because, that's just, he doesn't feel like he needs to. And Pico doesn't even bother asking Biggie if he knows because he doesn't see a reason to either. So, neither of them really care about the past. Biggie's happy that Pico is moving forward from it, and Pico is happy that he can't. The past doesn't really affect them. Alright, moving on. Whenever either of them has a bad day, They just sit by each other and just sleep. No, neither of them are good with emotions. Neither of them can really express it around the other. Pico's a Buster mess. Biggie is just Biggie. But, you know, just them being there for each other, just not saying a word, it's enough for them. I don't really have a lot to say for them. They're just a basic couple. And I think that's all they really need to be. Just there for each other, you know, getting through their issues together. I think that's all a relationship really needs to be. With lots of angst, of course. As much as I like the pairing, I don't really got much to say for it. It's cute, I like it, but other than that, it's kind of just there. The art really does reflect that. It is not that special. I did it in one day, and I am not really into it. I mean, I like how I drew it and colored it, but other than that, it's kind of just there. And I think that's the best way I can describe this pairing. It's just there. Just the background couple. But hey, when was that ever a bad thing?
Okay, don't call me weird here, but I actually wrote a story for this pairing. Because look, it is somewhat plausible. Okay, look, I'm gonna go into like conspiracy theorist mode right now. So, like, there were villainous shorts where it showed Black Cat and the gang going to different worlds in the Cartoon Network, like cinematic universe. Okay, so do you know Cartoon Network? It's also connected to HBO Max. Alright, stay with me here. Because, you know, some of the shows on Cartoon Network are connected to there. So it's possible that Black Cat could end up going through HBO Max and have access to everything else. Also, Cartoon Network's connected to Adult Swim, and Smiley Friends is on Adult Swim, so... Okay, there we go. See, it makes sense. I don't gotta explain it. I just gotta explain the ship. Alright. Right, so Dave... I just thought he was kind of weird, so... You know, he looks human, but he's actually a powerful entity that's just chilling on Earth. He can speak telepathically, and only changes his expressions when he wants to. Which means at Charlie's funeral, he showed a little frown. Every time he's just stone face. I think that's funny. I just like to think that he's just stone face all the time. Alright, time to move on to the story. You're out your cookies and milk. Story time! So while traveling to look for a universe to take over and conquer, Black Cat ends up in the Smiley Friends universe, and just so happens to arrive in Dave's land, where he meets, you guessed it, Dave, and he falls in love on the spot. Because I have another headcanon, Black Cat just pretends to be all emotionless and evil. Because he is. He's an entity beyond everybody's comprehensions. But for certain people, Dave, he gets all soft and sweet, but acts like a complete Cinderella. My headcanon, don't complain. And when he met Dave, he kind of just watched him from afar, but would eventually start talking to him. At first, Black Cat would just verbally berate him like any Cinderella word. But then Dave would say something that would leave Black Cat flustered. So it's sort of like a, Kana and Saikawa situation from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Actually, that is... Actually, now that I think about it, it's kind of just like Kana and Saikawa, but like, with extra steps. But, yeah, shut up. We're moving on. But over time, they would slowly go to have more conversations, full conversations, talk about stuff. And Black Cat just gets all giddy and happy whenever he goes back home. He sees Dave like every single day. It's like a routine for him at this point. And it all leads to Dave asking Black Cat to be his boyfriend. And yeah, ever since then, yeah, everything's been good. Alright, moving on to headcanons. I don't have a lot for them, but like, I just like them. Black Cat lets Dave stay in this mansion around Dave, obviously. Black Cat is a lot more warmer and approachable, and Slug and 505 and Dementia make fun of Black Cat for it. Dementia does not like Dave, but just has to tolerate him. And Black Cat would go insane if something happened to Dave. But Dave is immortal, so he's fine. Yep. What a great pairing this is. Okay, I want to kind of real quick because I just thought of something. Okay, so if this was like plausible, maybe like Show could slightly hint at it. I mean, Dave could just be sitting in Black Cat's office. I mean, Dave doesn't have any voice lines with Smiley Friends. He just literally sits at the desk at his first appearance, and at Charlie's funeral, he's just there. So, like, you know, if him and Black Cat were to date, Dave would just be chilling in his office, and then someone comes in and they'll, like, ask, okay, why is this human here? And Black Cat would be like, just ignore him. He's here for emotional support. Kind of like with Pico and Biggie, I don't have a lot to say for them, but unlike Pico and Biggie, I absolutely love this pairing. It's so absurd, but it could work. To some degree, it could work, but like, I mean, who's gonna make it work? Yeah, but I just like it. The art's okay, I guess. I mean, I didn't intend for it to like become like a comic towards the end, but hey. I just feel like making Black Cat a tsundere. I would have gone into more, the gag and Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid with Sakura, but again, I really don't understand how I made that correlation, like, unintentionally. I made the correlation, and I wasn't even thinking about that. Okay, why are some of my pairings inspired by anime? Okay, I don't know if this is kind of like cheating, but this isn't really, a ship, to be exact. It's more so like a one-sided type thing that I like and have been keeping going for a while. Alright, the relationship is based off a multiverse crag fic that I wrote. I'm not gonna explain it here because it's not exactly fit for kids. But in the most loosest sense of the way I can do the dance around this, Giggles runs a semi-illegal business that exploits young women's financial and emotional situations for profit, and Jessie just runs the front desk and handles the payments. That is their work dynamic. But their relationship, Giggles loves Jessie, and Jessie is completely disgusted with everything Giggles does. That's what leads to the main conflict of the story, because the story follows Ina, don't ask, and she's just oblivious to everything, and Jessie's just trying to destroy Giggles as a business on the inside, while also dealing with the bullshit that Giggles puts her through. And that bullshit would be that Giggles kills every single person that Jessie ever dates. Well, hires a hitman to do it so she can have Jessie for herself. And I should probably explain the story behind it. Giggles was originally going to have Jessie work for her in the illegal business, but Jessie instead piqued Giggles' interest and she developed a crush on her. So she just keeps her close by. Alright, also in this universe, Jessie never met James. Giggles has a lot of trauma from Happy Tree Forest, and Jessie also went through similar trauma with the foster care system, and Giggles can transform from her human form to the pink bear form. Jessie is completely done with life. Giggles has never been in love before Jessie, so this is sort of like her first experience. And Jessie is asexual, and Giggles respects that while still mocking her on the side. Oh, and Jessie's also well aware that Giggles is killing all her potential love interest, and she just thinks it's pathetic, and that kind of causes her to like stay away from people. You know, people come to her because just her mysterious and, you know, hard to get vibe is enough to get them to come near her. And that really upsets her, because she's just trying to like keep everyone safe, because she's actually a really caring and compassionate person on the inside. But then that part comes out whenever someone dies because of her, essentially. Giggles knows that Jessie hates her, but has deluded herself and convinced herself that Jessie will eventually change her mind and they can live happily ever after in their cabin in the woods. And finally, if Giggle compliments anything about Jessie, her clothes, hair, etc., Jessie will never be seen with that thing ever again. Because I had this like scene in my head where like Jessie had her hair short one time and Giggles thought that was cute, and ever since then Jessie has grown her hair out. And Giggles is well aware of this and just doesn't understand why. She does not understand why Jessie does not like her. Yeah. Don't we love a tone deaf queen? Yeah, I wasn't too sure about adding this pairing to the list, because it's not exactly a pairing, but at the same time it is cursed, so, you know, it's there. The art is okay. I wish I did better with the background. I didn't really have enough ideas. I wanted there to be hints towards like the backstories of both of them, but I had no idea how to do that. So, you gotta make do with your lack of motivation and ideas.
I've already teased this pairing once on the channel before, so, you know, all who has seen the Speedpaint video, which, thank you if you haven't, yeah, this shouldn't really come as a surprise. Plain and simply, the hyperfixation just clicked, and it just happened. And also, I finally figured out how they met. Stay with me for a bit. I don't really have, like, a canon explanation for how Wally and Mordecai ended up in the same universe, but I personally like to think that Wally escaped home and was somehow ended up in 1920. Yeah, he brings a lot of like confusing technology with him, such as light bulbs, which Mordecai is fascinated yet freaked out by. Alright, So, here's the story of how their budding romance started. They met during a shootout in the forest. Mordecai was just, in the middle of a confrontation with somebody and it went south. And while Mordecai was shot in the arm and hiding, Wally was just passing by because he likes taking walks in the forest for some reason. Wally saw Mordecai and asked if he needed help. Mordecai said yeah, expecting Wally to help patch his wound, but Wally ended up taking his gun and going after the guy who shot him. When Mordecai was finished patching his wound, Wally came over to him with the guy's body and was like, where should we hide it? And while they were burying the guy, they had a nice long talk and they became friends. And as friends, and still in their relationship, Wally makes it his life's goal to make Mordecai a lot more comfortable being just himself. Like, taking him out to parties, taking him dancing, and just to get him used to being around people and just being out there. And since neither of them has experienced attraction before, so when they started developing these feelings for each other, they both didn't understand it and reacted to it in different ways. With the relationship, I kind of think about like a flower. I feel like a flower represents a relationship pretty good. Wally, for instance, took care of the flower, like welcoming it, like it was an odd thing, but he welcomed it. But with Mordecai, he tried killing it, but it just wouldn't go away. It just got weaker and weaker, and in turn, he started to like distance a bit away from Wally, while Wally got closer the more he took care of the flower. And this led to a snowy night where Mordecai and Wally, met up together, and Mordecai tried like explaining what he's been feeling this entire time, but the words just wouldn't come out. And I am planning to write a story about this sooner or later. It eventually leads up to Mordecai just getting really frustrated and angry because he can't get the words out, and Wally just trying to be patient and try to help him, but it just doesn't really work out very well. And it just ends with Mordecai kissing Wally and told him not to make a big deal about it and just walked away. And Wally was just left completely confused. Of course, they talked about it over the phone the next day, and they got coffee. It was more so like their first date. So since then, they've been in a relationship. Simple and effective, in my opinion. Oh, and side note, they are both asexual. I just think of them as like a sweet asexual romantic relationship. I think it's cute. They do a lot of cute things. Wally has painted lots of pictures of Mordecai, but he's not allowed to show them to anyone. Wally is just all over Mordecai and just loves him so much, but Mordecai does not let him do it in public. So no PDA, even though Wally does not understand why he's not allowed to do it. But, respects Mordecai's boundaries. And Mordecai, due to being around Wally a lot, is starting to like open up and express more positive emotions around people he trusts. Of course, not around to people that will try to like hurt him, but like around people that he can trust, which is not the people that he works with, like, at all. I don't think he actually trusts those idiots. Alright, time for some angst. Woo! Angst time! Wally gets really bad nightmares from his time being in the town of Welcome Home, but specifically in-house. And Mordecai doesn't really know how to, like, help him through that, but just gives him a hug, and that somehow works. Wally does not like Mordecai's job at all and feels like he should just do something a lot more safer, and actually Mordecai feels the exact same. Like, he needs to like get another job so Wally can be safe. But at the same time, since Wally likes to make the relationship known to everyone, including Asa, it's a lot more dangerous to leave the job now that people know that Wally is important to him. Because if he leaves, someone could come after Wally and try to hurt him, and Mordecai does not want that. So now he's stuck in a situation where he knows he needs to leave. No, he needs to leave so Wally can be safe, but if he leaves at the same time, Wally's still in danger. So it's like that. It's like a balancing act for him. He doesn't like tell Wally this because he doesn't want to give him more problems than he already has. But it like slowly eats away at him, and Wally can tell something is wrong, but just doesn't know how to approach it. You can't have a happy relationship without some angst. It's great. While this isn't my favorite pairing, I still like it. Now that I have like a concrete reason and a story to follow with them, it just makes it so much better. Like I got tons of ideas of how to like make it so messed up. Like with Wally and his escape from home, and Mordecai with his job dilemma, and the fact that like anyone could come after him at any moment and hurt Wally. The possibilities are endless. Well, for angst, but also for fluff, which, you know, I am gonna take advantage of eventually when I get the time and energy. Be patient with me. Be patient. And now we have reached the ending. I've saved the most cursed pairings for last. The Canon XOC pairings! Oh! And we're starting off with a classic. Well, for my channel, that is. Gramble, Gigglefunny, and Henry Downwag. You know, the funny thing is, Henry did not start off as like a character that you can talk with in town. It was more so like a self-insert for like the player character. Since you could choose different colors for your save file, I thought Henry was like one of the journalists. But I changed that after a while, after I kind of fell in love with the design. Well, I can't exactly say they're like a couple. I mean, Henry likes Gramble, and Gramble did have a bit of a crush on him, but you know, him and Wiggle are now dating, so he kind of like shoved it aside. I don't think they're just friends. So, time to get on to their story, which I explained a little bit, but I haven't made a lot of videos with Henry. Well, Henry has this weird condition where the world is just like a black void with gray outlines, and there's these creatures that like haunt his mind and like follow him around and torment him. But when he met Gramble, his world turned back to color, and it's been that way ever since, but it gets brighter when he's around Gramble. And I don't have an explanation for this. It's just, I guess, like a metaphor for something. I don't know what the metaphor is. I'm just trying to like figure out what I was thinking when I thought of this plot point. But besides from like Gramble saving him from this like dark void, Henry just finds Gramble sweet, kind, amusing, and you know, he just feels this closeness with him. And since they're the only grumpuses on the island who don't eat bug snacks, besides Shelda to some degree, they, you know, click with that. You know, with Henry, he also brings in like this other idea I had with like the fish snacks, but that is a completely different other thing, and I will get to that eventually. Henry, you know, helped babysit Gramble's kin, and something here I did think of. Gramble feels safe around Henry because, you know, he knows that he's not going to eat any of his kin, so he just sleeps on Henry whenever he's just tired, and Henry just watches over his kin while having Gramble on his shoulder, and it makes his heart flutter. But he knows that, you know, Gramble is with Wiggle, and Henry hates Wiggle, by the way. So he just kind of has to keep it down, because like if he were to confess, like right now when everything's like kind of like a mess, it would not end very well. And he's afraid to lose Gramble because he's afraid he's going to go back into that darkness, and he just does not want that. Something I thought of was Henry did not realize that he was in love with Gramble until Agabel had to explain what love was to him. And like I said before, Gramble had a small crush on Henry when, you know, he first boarded the ship. It was kind of like a first, like he saw Henry, was like, ooh, you're my boy. But then he started dating Wiggle, and he just shoved that crush away. But his heart does flutter when Henry smiles at him, and, you know, when he lies his head on Henry's shoulder to rest his eyes. Yeah, I mean, technically they would probably make a nice couple, and like in a perfect scenario, they would both confess their feelings when they're both about to die, and if they survive, they would move to the country and start their own family. But it probably won't happen. Henry won't confess to Gramble, but they'll continue being friends. Some other headcanons I have. Gramble gave Henry a Raspy as like a gift for maybe his birthday or something. Henry named him Basil. Henry is trying to collect evidence that Wiggle is just using Gramble, and well, not for any reason, just more so that like dude can break him up. It's like that really jealous part of him, sort of like a Ooh, what's a good example? Sort of like that cartoon trope where a girl is in love with a guy, and the guy is also in love with the other girl, and the other girl tries to sabotage the other girl. You know, that weird thing that cartoons do for some reason. Henry holds heavy grudges on anyone who hurts Gramble, and that includes Wambus. Even after the entire situation gets resolved, he still holds that dislikement towards him, but he still kind of likes Wambus for his hard work type attitude. And they hang out around Henry's fishing spot outside of town. Again, I'll explain all this sooner or later. Henry, if he were to be added to the game, like maybe like a mod or something that I probably will have to get someone to make, he would like serve as like an indicator for like your actions, because, you know, being the story nut job I am, I like having the story connect and actually having consequences for your actions. If Henry sees that Gramble's limb changed and that you, the player, are the reason for it, Henry will hate you. Literally hate you. And the Yanks that just follows that, it's just amazing. There is so much I want to say about this pairing, but I just don't got the time. I mean, I could make it longer, but this video is already getting too long. I don't got much to say about the art. It's, okay. The background's terrible, though. I was really just getting bored with the backgrounds. I got nothing else going. Yep. That's it. I mean, I like the pairing. Their dynamic's okay. I still got a lot to do for his character, though. Alright, so I'm just going to explain Black Sesame Cookie's story here. Alright, so Black Sesame Cookie is the anti-hero of the Republic, if you will. He is the captain of the Marine called the Pastry Patriots, and he and his crew aid the Creme Republic with their knowledge and advanced technology and battle tactics. The Marine has its own story, but I'm not going to explain it here because it's not important. So Black Sesame Cookie grew a crush on Caviar Cookie, and Caviar Cookie did not trust him or his Marine the moment they arrived on the dock, which resulted in a love-hate relationship between them, mostly hate on Caviar's part. I should also mention that they are married. Not because Caviar ended up loving him, it was more so Black Sesame Cookie kidnapping him and keeping him hostage on his ship. You know, while they were on the trip all the way back to the Republic, Caviar broke down and ended up, you know, just relying on Black Sesame Cookie so he could just escape his mind, because there's also like another part of the story with Caviar. It mainly stemming from his trauma of watching his mom die after she pushed him out the way so he wouldn't like get sucked into the sea, and that caused her to die, and Caviar blamed himself for that, and it just, the trauma from that really affects him, and the only way he can like escape that pain is to experience pain when he's around Black Sesame Cookie, because that is just a form of sickness that he gets, and it's better than just feeling the mental turmoil from it. And yeah, he just ended up marrying him so that we can continue feeling that pain and not just feel the constant mental pain. So yeah, he's not really happy in the marriage. And it also doesn't make it better that Custard Cookie also decided that Caviar should merge his navy with Black Sesame's Marine, which would effectively kind of like ruin the history behind House Caviar. So, you know, that doesn't really help. And Custard doesn't really give Caviar a say in it, which I'm sure is a motif, like, with their entire relationship. Caviar does not have a choice, like a say in the matter. And that also applies to Black Sesame Cookie, but I'm not going to explain it here. I'll explain it in a future video. You know, I say they're married. I mean, they are married. They have rings and the documents confirming it, but they have yet to have a ceremony, which I do plan to write a story about the ceremony, because there is a lot I want to say there. But Black Sesame Cookie does love Caviar, and he wants Caviar to love him back, but due to everything that caused their marriage, Caviar just hates him more, and Black Sesame doesn't understand why. I mean, he understands, but like, he just doesn't know how to make it obvious that he actually cares about Caviar, because he does. He absolutely loves him, but he's just not good with expressing the emotions. The emotions needed to like show love, I suppose. But, similarity they do have is they have non-existent relationships with their father. Caviar, mainly because his father left around the same time his mom died, and Black Sesame Cookie because his dad's an asshole. Yeah, we love absent fathers. Woo! And despite their rough marriage and romantic relationship, they do have a good work relationship. The one priority is making sure the crew is safe, and also wanting to end the war with Dr. Chandler's Cookie. And they're able to keep that separate. Yep. It's an odd relationship they got going on. I'm not sure if I will make it better or make it worse. We'll have to see. There is a lot I want to say for Black Sesame Cookie. Well, actually, for the entire story, I came up for the Republic cookies, mainly for Oyster Cookie and Caviar Cookie. But for right now, I think I've said enough. I'm not a big fan of the art. It's just too generic, I guess. I wanted there to be a bit more stuff in the background, but again, I am not good with backgrounds. But yeah, I guess it's okay for what it's worth. I am, by the way, when I was doing the art, I did not have a reference sheet for Black Sesame Cookie yet, so I just chose random colors that match the Black Sesame Seed cookie. He looks so pale, I cannot get over that. But thank goodness I went back and changed the colors once I had the sheet done. Yeah. It's, oh, sweet Jesus. This is why you need character reference sheets, children. Even if it's for a background character, you need a reference sheet, or else you're gonna hate it. And we have now come to our last cursed pairing on this list. Spamton G. Spamton and this OC I created in 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm not really attached to this guy. I just created him because I wanted Spamton to have more angst in his life. But in the best way I can explain him, well, his name is Tangerine. He is Orange's cousin and he moved to the city to help Orange out. He sells eyewear, and just like Spamton, he wasn't all successful, but he didn't care as long as he was helping his cousin out. And basically, he was just Spamton's best friend. Spamton had a crush on him. And, Tangerine felt the same, but was pressured into not telling Spamton by the other Adamsons. Not Orange. Orange was completely supportive, but the others. Yeah, they didn't exactly like the idea because, well, unfortunately, the media doesn't like the gays. So, that would ruin sales. So around the time Spamton became successful, Tangerine still hung out with him, even though the other Addisons, abandoned Spamton and encouraged Tangerine to do the same. Tangerine stuck by his side because he loved him. But then he died. On the way to visit Spamton in the Queen's Manor, he got ran over by a car because he wasn't looking both ways. And Spamton didn't find out until he was evicted from the mansion, and since then he blamed himself for his death. And Spamton just regrets never telling Tangerine about his feelings and often thinks about a future where he did tell him. And, if I were to, make this a mod, maybe most likely, hinting at something, I would kind of hint at that by making it in a shop dialogue thingy. And maybe, hypothetically, Tangerine could be on top of one of the buildings so you can go in Cyber City, and you can sit next to him and he'll talk about someone that he misses. And then, when you come back to him after the Spamton Neo fight and you have the Dealmaker or Puppet Scar, he'll comment on how familiar they look and then thank you for talking to him. And then when you come back, he will be gone. I'm not just, saying stuff hypothetically. Not hinting at anything. Nope. Just, some random rambling. Yep. That's it. Alright, for the last cursed pairing, I think it does its job well. I think I'm about to get, maybe 1 or 2 comments about people telling me to, throw myself off a cliff because Spamton is their husband. Yes, it sounds lovely. Yeah, I don't really got much to say for them. I mean, I like the picture, especially for the background. I am so surprised I actually like the background. I'm surprised I even like it. But it is kind of like an impossible situation, because their story is basically, oh, Tangerine's dead, he'll never see Spamton again. So, it's just kind of like a nice scenario where, they can see each other again, and, I think the one thing you take away from this video is that I do not like making people happy. Making them suffer is the best thing to do. It just shows your love and appreciation. Because that's what humans do. We hurt the things we like. I think. Maybe it's a disorder. I think I need to go to a doctor. Before the video ends, here are some honorable mentions. Some ships that I thought of like after I recorded everything, or just ones I had in my mind but didn't want to draw them. Alright, the HBO Max Velma and Riverdale Jughead. Little pieces of shit and they're angry all the time. And I like to think that they are denying their feelings for each other, and then when they finally start dating, they still deny it for the sake of being petty. We love shitty kings and queens. Don Williams and Larry from the shitty Pokemon game that just came out, I think. It was just an intrusive thought I had, but I like to think that they both got out of shitty relationships and now they're murder cannibals in the woods. Don't ask how that happened. Hamtaro and Godzilla. I just think it's funny. And also cute, because Godzilla can carry Hamtaro in his hand. Oh, so cute. I was actually tempted to put this in the video, but I didn't have any, like, stuff to talk about with them. Peppino and Modius. I don't know how to say her name. Demon Girl and Taliban. Perfect. Modius is just entertained by everything Peppino does, and Peppino is worried about making a bad impression on her, because anxiety and whatnot. Oh, and Company is their child. That is canon. Enmu and Ray the Flying Squirrel. I have an Enmu figurine, and I bought a Ray action figure, and I put Ray on his Enmu stand, and yeah, I just thought they were married. I only have angst for them. Enmu and Ray can't be together due to their opposite sides, but Ray visits him every chance he can, and they share a kiss. I don't know, I really like that for some reason. I was tempted to put this in a video, but maybe some other time. And finally, Shantae and Mario. My first ever crack ship. It's a long story, I won't say it here. They are both exes that had a bad falling out, but years later they rekindle and, you know, they still talk. And Mario is married to Reba from the Mario in the Music Box series. And, you know, he doesn't like Shantae at all. Yep, that's all. Welcome back. If you stuck around thus far, thank you. I'm kind of surprised you wanted to hear me ramble about ships for like an hour. I plan to do more speed paints in the future until I figure out how to work with Adobe Animate. But I guess it'll look more professional, or at least more pleasing on the eye. Like I said at the beginning, the channel is going through some changes, and I plan to introduce these changes in a future upload. I just need more time to work on the assets. Sorry for the bad and inconsistent audio quality. I'm still using my headphone microphone for everything, and I only understand the bare minimum when it comes to audio mixing. So, be patient with me. So, I guess this is where we part ways. But this isn't goodbye. I'm sure we'll meet again. Some sunny day under the palm trees and with the calm ocean breeze. Don't be a stranger.